It's gonna photograph Mount Rushmore at sunrise, but I don't think the sun's gonna rise. Back to bed. Alright, rarely do I head out before coffee, but yeah, it was supposed to rain. There's a lot of clouds out there. And I just kept looking out the window, and I saw a couple of little reflections or illuminated clouds. So there was like a promise of light, if you would. So I'm on my way up to Mount Rushmore again. I'm hoping there's going to be a little bit of light. If not, there's still the clouds that are moving, and I'm thinking about just setting up a tripod, doing a real quick time lapse of that. And maybe, I mean, I'm here, I'm like 5 minutes away, so. The room doesn't have coffee either, and I went downstairs and there's no sign of breakfast yet, so. I just saw a kid walking down the road here. There's no sign of a car anywhere. Anyway, good morning. Good morning from Mount Rushmore. So the hope is that some of this light eventually makes its way onto here. Talking to those guys, they rode up from Illinois, actually, through Iowa. They hugged the top of the state before they got here. They said they were two of the hottest days of the year, but nice guys. He's like, "You're traveling by yourself?" I'm like, "Yeah, man. It's the best way to do it." I was like, "Yeah, freedom." He's like, "You got that right." You know, I probably mentioned this before. In fact, I know I did. That this was a pretty powerful time to be here. You know, I went into the museum yesterday. Obviously, they told the story of, the birth of the country. This wasn't really about just the construction of this monument, but it was, the film last night was really, about the birth of the country. And they talk now about there's no room for political violence in this country, which I agree with, but you also can't deny the fact that our country was born and has experienced, to get to where it is today, many moments of political violence. We celebrate the Revolutionary War and we acknowledge the Civil War, and those were all times of political violence. It just makes this country what it is. But senseless. Well, I don't even know where I'm going with this. I mentioned yesterday what an incredible time to be here, actually. This moment in history. See a guy walking up the interstate to get here, though. How far did he walk from? So, in lieu of going into the park, I went to there's a area before you get to the park, off to the side of the road, that I decided to pull off at for a couple reasons. One, I can see these God beams happening over here, where the sun's starting to try to break through. It's just a nice scene. It's off to the side of the road. It's where you don't really come to photograph Mount Rushmore. I was in the park yesterday. This is just a good vantage point. Most of the light is to the left, so if I'm shooting this way, I'm getting a nice time lapse. I've got the action cam on the uh, fitted onto the side mirror of the car, the side window, shooting a wider angle time lapse, and a tighter time lapse being shot from the Sony with the 70 to 200 on the tripod right here. So anyway, good morning from Mount Rushmore. It's turning out to be a beautiful morning, actually. I rarely stop in front of these signs, but I just had to in this one. So, I just got done entering my journal entry for this morning. And again, I mean, if you're tuning in to watch this, you're obviously well aware at this point that you're not getting a lot of great travel tips. I'll just say one little quick tip. If you're going to visit the South Dakota area where I'm at now, near Mount Rushmore and the Black Hills, Keystone's a great place to home base. I mean, I'm at this Roosevelt Inn, and right up the hill is 2 minutes away, 5 minutes, 2 miles up the hill is Mount Rushmore. Off my balcony is this whole park. If you have kids, it's a great place to just let them have a good time over there with the zip lines and luges and all that kind of stuff. This is also a great place to home base, I think, when you're visiting the Badlands, which is like an hour away. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to shoot up the hill. I'm going to go down a road called Iron Mountain. It takes about an hour to go through that. Then I think probably another hour to the Badlands, maybe a little less. Going to drive through that and then eventually make my way up to Deadwood. Going to stay there a night. And it's supposed to be some really cool tours there. Again, I'm blazing through here. I could have easily spent 2 or 3 nights here. And the same in Deadwood from what I hear. But we're staying in South Dakota for 2 days. And I was just, when I was just journaling, I was realizing, oh my God, it seems like I've been on the road for a month. And it's really only been a week. It's been a week. That's crazy. Anyway, a lot's happened in a week. I've seen a lot. And the last day's been really tough, you know? I think this was a good, like I said, timing-wise, it was a great time to be at Mount Rushmore. And maybe, you know, proud to be an American as I was watching this film last night. To be around so many other people. You could have heard a pin drop when this guy was talking on the stage. Anyway, I pray for unity and I pray for peace, and we'll see what happens this week. His speech is being rewritten right now, so we'll wait to see what happens with that. It's supposed to be more of a unity speech. The rhetoric toned down quite a bit. I think he's changed a lot, you know? I can't even imagine what it's been like to be him for the last, when I say him, I mean Trump, obviously. What it's been like to be him for the last 48 hours or so. You know, I've seen so many different clips of people saying some really profound things, and I'm in a total lack of words, I know how I feel, I just can't put them into words. Maybe I'm not meant to. I'm not really a wordsmith. Maybe my art is in sharing visuals and using my creativity that way. But I don't know, I hope I can put this into a story, or this even makes sense by the time God only knows what's going to happen within the next 2 months by the time I get this thing edited. Like I said before, I'm like weeks behind because I think the next video I start editing when I go back home is Alaska, which was in May. It takes a while to put those things together. Not that I have much of a following here, but I spent a lot of time putting these together. I mean, I hope, I don't hope for a lot of followers, but I hope that those who are following get something out of these, you know? That's all I can hope for, I guess. Because I think they're becoming more than just a personal documentation. And what that more is, I have no idea. All right, I got to finish my coffee and get on the road. Showerless today. Took a shower before dinner last night. Dinner. It's a to-go pizza. I'm looking forward to this drive. All right, I'll see you on the road. Time to get out of here. All right, so I just came through this tunnel. It's called Gideon Tunnel. It's on this Iron Mountain Road, and it's a Monday, so it's really slow. But here's the cool thing. Check this out. They get it perfectly framed so you see Mount Rushmore when you come through the tunnel. Look at that. That was like one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And I don't know if I would have noticed it had there not been a car there stopped and taken a couple of photos. But you come through this tunnel. It's called Gideon Tunnel. Again, I'm repeating myself, but it's on this Iron Mountain Road. And when you come through, Mount Rushmore is completely framed. Might be able to see it again here. When you come through that tunnel, it's spectacular. Here's the deal though, I'm here on a Monday, just cruising through this. I've only seen like 2 cars here. It's a bunch of motorcycles went through a few minutes ago. And yeah, what a great time to be visiting this. Because if yesterday, I'm sure that tunnel would have been packed, full of Instagrammers, influencers as it were. Now I'm influencing you that if you're here, do it on a Monday morning. I guess I am an influencer, huh? To who, I have no idea. Look at this little guy walking up the road. There he goes. Good Lord, that guy's huge. All right, I'm on another one of these amazing scenic drives, just for the record. Again, it's Iron Mountain Road, I believe, 16A, just for the record. On my way to the Badlands. The thing I'm really digging about South Dakota is, up until now, it's either been small towns or scenic drives. And this area of South Dakota for me has been, so far, a mixture of small towns and scenic drives. I've told people, like I saw some people at the post office today. They've been here for 3 days. And they says, oh yeah, how long are you here? And I told them, well, they stayed last night. I'm like, 1 night? I think it's time for a little history lesson. So this guy, Peter Norbeck, which I hope I'm getting the pronunciation right. Well, there's a lot to say about this guy. I was just reading a placard out there, and I think I really want to dig in and do a little bit of a narration and maybe a little bit on this guy, because, again, from his humble beginnings to designing the Needles area and being involved in Mount Rushmore and establishing or becoming a senator, and then there's a lot of stuff. So I think instead of bumbling through this, we're going to switch it over, hand it off to narrator Mike, and he'll give you a little bit more info. Take it away, Mike.
Peter Norbeck, a man of humble beginnings, was born on a farm in South Dakota in 1870. His early life instilled in him a deep love for the rugged beauty of the land, a passion that would shape his future. Rising from a background as a farmer and a well driller, Norbeck went on to become one of South Dakota's most influential figures. As the state's governor and later a U.S. Senator, his vision and determination helped bring some of the region's most iconic landmarks to life. He played a pivotal role in the development of the Needles Highway, a feat of engineering that showcased the breathtaking beauty of the Black Hills. Perhaps the most lasting legacy, however, was his involvement in securing the creation of Mount Rushmore, which today stands as a national symbol of American history and perseverance. Peter Norbeck's contributions continue to inspire those who seek to preserve and celebrate the natural and cultural wonders of South Dakota.
I've made it to the Badlands. Let me tell you about these insects. I've spent the last 2-3 hours on the road when I could have trimmed off, I don't know, 2-3 hours in this trip. Anyway, I'm up here by the north, or the interior entrance they call it, finally. And all through this Pine Ridge Indian Reservation when I was driving, the car has been getting pelted, but by what seemed like small hummingbirds. I mean, they're insects, they're grasshopper, whatever they are. Crazy. Luckily, none of them have cracked the windshield yet. Presently driving through Badlands National Park. Get cameras all around. It's like 1,000 degrees. Pretty, very pretty. Dirtiest windshield ever. So this is the kind of national park travel I like to do when it's like 107,000 degrees out. Middle of the day. Oh wow. Not fantastic for photography, but okay for video, I think. I've got a DJI Action 4 mounted on a little arm pointing forward on the left side of the car, and one mounted over the passenger side. And here's what it looks like driving through. Oh my God, look at the size of that bug. I'd enjoy. Well, as is so often the case, I'm here, at this place at the total wrongest time ever. I would imagine that sunrise, sunset, sun's low, and it's not up in the, this not dealing with midday. Oh my God, I'm hot. Let me rephrase this. Hold on. As a lighting designer and a so-called landscape photographer, I mean, you think I would know better that this is the absolute worst time to be here. Mid harsh day sun. We all know that the best lighting for something like this is early morning, late afternoon, even into the blue hour in the evening. I'm sure you can get some amazing star stuff out here as well. It's been a nice ride, and I would come back again if I was out here, but I wouldn't come back in the middle of the day. Gotta admit, I haven't the foggiest idea what I'm looking at in the Badlands. I got to do a little bit of research here. Absolutely have to, because it's gorgeous, and it's a shame I don't know what I'm looking at. Hey, I know, it's an idea for
for narration Mike to step in. Yeah, there we go. Mike, what are we looking at here at the Badlands? So here I am in the Badlands National Park, right in the middle of the day, the absolute worst time for a landscape photographer. Harsh sunlight, deep shadows, and enough glare to make me question my life choices. But hey, it builds character, right? Well, as I'm driving around through the park, I'm realizing something else. I actually have no idea what I'm looking at. Is that a butte? A pinnacle? A thingamajig? Whatever it is, it's impressive. Well, according to my ChatGPT research, these rock formations are about 75 million years old, formed by layers of ancient seabed, volcanic ash, and rivers that cut through the landscape over time. I guess that's right. The name Badlands actually comes from the Lakota people who called the place Makosika, meaning Badlands, because it's rugged, dry, and hard to navigate. Now, I'm pretty sure I've mispronounced that, or pronounced it wrong, and somebody might want to fact check what I'm saying here. Text in, let us know. The fossils hidden in these rocks are from ancient creatures like saber-toothed cats and even three-hoofed horses. Definitely needs a fact check. Don't worry though, I'll try to stick to capturing the beauty of these ancient layers without getting too deep into paleontology. I'll leave that to the professionals. Or my friend Frank. I'm sure he'll let me know where I screwed up. Anyway, I hope you like the images. I had a good time riding around. As you can see up ahead there, the sun's starting to come down a little bit. Look at the texture and definition you see. Also, look at the color here, huh? It's like a rich, like a scarlet red kind of pinkish, mauvish hue. Pretty cool. I have no idea what it is. Of course, you might have learned something from the voiceover, I'm not sure. Hopefully I did. Yikes. Yeah, it's a live one. I've been driving around for what seems like 5 hours. I still got to get to Deadwood. I think it's 2 hours away. How long is it going to take me? An hour and 37 minutes. Not too bad. Got to drive 100 miles. 104 to be exact. Let's go. I'm in Deadwood. Check out the houses up on the hill. They're pretty cool. Forgot to put the old parking pass on the car. So I'm staying down like right off the main drag at a Holiday Inn Express. Booked it at the last minute. Got a good deal. If you're IHG member, they give you points and whatnot for that kind of stuff. Not sponsored. Yeah, I'm gonna go out and get a bite to eat. I'd really like to photograph this town. I don't know if I'll get around to it though. So that was a lot of driving today. What did I say? A lot of driving? Yeah. I think I was in the car since like 10 this morning. I'm sure I have a bunch of images I could share. I was up in the, what was it, Iron Road? It's in, well, this car is absolutely filthy. Check this out. So this is the back. Not that bad, but you got to go around front. By the way, I think there's a grasshopper in the truck.
Look at that. Deadwood is officially one of those little towns that was on my list of small towns. Remember I did, well, you probably don't know. If you go to 50at60.com, I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to put a convenient link at the top for scenic drives, small towns, and state by state. I did another series of national parks too. A lot of stuff written with AI or prompted through my prompts with ChatGPT, and I locked the car, right? Yeah. And then the images, obviously there were some stock photos I used, but I think what I'm going to do is go back and add to some of those posts, you know, after being in some of these locations. But anyway, I did a series of small towns, or a series of, I picked every single state and then picked 5 different small towns and talked briefly about them, and then kind of zeroed in on one. And Deadwood was the small town for South Dakota. So I'm sure, you know, since we're going with it, let's go with the third narration now. I think I'm going to hand it over to Mike, the narrator, and we're going to do a little history lesson as we watch an accident. We're going to talk about Deadwood and a little bit of history about Deadwood, or whatever I find out. Mike, future Mike, your turn.
Alright, giving myself quite the workout here. By the way, I'm thinking about building a voiceover booth. What do you think? Anyway, here I am winding down my day in the legendary town of Deadwood. Now this town is straight out of the Wild West. Once a booming gold rush town, it's most famous for its larger-than-life figures like Wild Bill Hickok and Calamity Jane, who walked these very streets. Wild Bill met his end right here in Deadwood, shot during a poker game with what's now known as the Dead Man's Hand. This town has seen its share of highs and lows, including a devastating fire in 1879 that nearly wiped it off the map. But Deadwood, much like its famous residents, refused to go down quietly. The town rebuilt, and today it stands as a snapshot of history, with its preserved Old West charm and countless stories etched into every corner. I hung out for a little bit and caught the tail end of a walking tour, which I highly recommend. It was across the street from, I forget the name of the hotel. A lot to absorb here. If those walls could talk. Yeah, 3 voiceover sessions. Are we done? Can we move on, Mike?
I hope that turned out well. When I say future Mike, I mean that. I mean, it's going to probably be 2 months before I edit this video. Anyway, that's all I got for today, I think. Unless I do some nighttime shots of the city, I'll include them. If not, it's just going to be stuff from today. I'll see you in the morning. We're going to do some more fun stuff. What, I have no idea. Anyway, thanks for checking it out. Thanks for joining me. And we'll see you tomorrow. We explore this area a little bit before heading up to Medora, North Dakota. That will be my next state. I have to look like an absolute clown recording myself. Yeah, so Medora's next on the docket, but I'll see you in the morning from, where am I at again? Deadwood, South Dakota. Thanks for being here. As always, more enormous land.